you do still seem to have the rest of your armor. Like, you've got your breastplate and your spolders. You've got rather too much going on at the shoulders, honestly. What, so many pieces. But overall, you do seem to have quite good coverage, so it's not that bad. It has been a geological age since my last armor review, and I have missed it. Let's do this. This episode is sponsored by me, but also not sponsored by a bunch of books that I'm going to mention, not because anybody paid me money, just because, you know, I want to. For those of you unfamiliar with my entirely subjective rating system, I think I need to change my hoodie. Better. Top tier is I'd wear it, and that's really pretty self-explanatory. Our second tier is pretty good. I wouldn't wear it, but you know, I think it's not bad. You know, there are lots of good elements to it. In the middle, we have two options. I don't particularly like to use this one, but sometimes something isn't good or bad, it's just there. And not actually armor, which has been very useful in the past when I am asked to review things and I go, but it's not armor, what do you want me to say here? Moving right on down, we have could be worse. Somebody tried, just not very successfully. And down at the bottom we have everyone's favourite tier, just stab me now, because that is exactly what would happen if you tried to wear this armor. Sometimes I will put armor in this tier, even if it's technically kind of okay, because I think it's ugly. I'm here for your entertainment, not your education, but you might still learn something. Who knows? We're starting with some Dragon Age Veilguard, or possibly the Veilguard. Look, I don't remember and I can't be bothered to look it up at this point. But we're doing it because we're trying to be timely. I try to be timely sometimes. Not often, admittedly, but it was recommended, so I hied off to Google and I found some screenshots on Reddit and like a video or something. So this is your getup if you are a Lords of Fortune mage, and when I first saw this I thought, this is not actually armor, because I mean, look at it. Look at it with your eyeballs. You've got a bunch of bracelets. You've got neck chainy things. You have a cloak, but then I looked closer and what did I see? Spolders, as in small shoulder armor pieces. And on this fella the same, you've got your bracelets, you've got your things, you've got your extremely toned abs. But again, spolders. And this, though it gets cut off, this stuff right here, I suspect that it is in fact a greave, so lower leg armor, but it is at least a poline, which is knee armor. I mean, to look at that video clip with the lady in it doing push-ups, I guess. She is wearing a different outfit, but it also features hideously overdone spolders compared to everything else. Also, isn't your body supposed to be in a straight line when you do push-ups? Anyway, just stab all of them now. But I suppose in their defense, they are at least mages, and so probably standing more towards the back, and at least we have equal opportunities in midriff-bearing, blinged-out non-armor. Exposed midriffs for all, why not? Our first book of the day is called The Defiant Spark, and it was written by Annie Persick, who was my developmental editor on Just Stab Me Now. My pitch for this one is technical support call center worker accidentally starts robot uprising? Whoops. Some of the armor I do like though. For example, this guy is an Antivan Crow rogue, possibly. It's extremely minimal, but they thought, we're only going to give him a couple of pieces of armor, so let's give him a breastplate and some greaves. I'm glad they decided to start by armoring his chest and not, say, his shoulders. We'll come back to that. It seems to be basically illegal now to have a video game where you don't have a toggle helmet on or off function, so I assume that at least some of these guys have helmets, but still, I would wear this. Some of the outfits are functional, but extremely ugly. This is a Mourn watch something, warrior I think, but I don't enjoy the large pauldrons, and honestly the colour is just really ugly. It looks like it's been made of copper that's been outside too long. Also, that breastplate is looking a bit long and non-segmented in the torso, not really liking that, and the pauldrons do look heavy, I'm just saying. Like, it's got great coverage, but I'm knocking it down to could be worse solely on the strength of the aesthetics and not really liking that breastplate length. And as for this lady, who is also in the Mourn watch, I'm pretty sure that her outfit is just a discarded option for the Hogwarts Legacy herbology professor. Like, look at this and tell me it's not something that Professor Garlick might wear on the weekends. I'm just saying. Not actually armor, I think, though it does contain what looks to be a suspicious spolder, so maybe I'm wrong about that. If it is in fact armor, then I would say, I guess, could be worse, because that spolder looks very small and light, and so it's really more decorative than anything else, so you're basically just not wearing armor. I don't think it's armor. If the spolder seemed to be metal, I might knock you down to just stab me now, because what's that gonna do? But it looks more like decoration, honestly. Second book of the day is Trooper 4 by Noah Chin. Basically, this woman with a name tag that says Felice wakes up in a post-apocalyptic world, and then things get meta. If you enjoy meta, you might like this one. Next up, we're going all the way back to 2004, Hector and Achilles in Troy. I have to tell you that I have tried several times to get through the movie Troy and just never managed it. I would quite like to, because I feel like it's important to watch the whole movie if you're going to do a fight scene analysis, and it is a very good fight scene. But it's so boring. I just can't. So these are the armor pieces from Hector's getup, and right away, I really like that we have a helmet. And I really like that we have a breastplate, and I really like that we have greaves. The other thing I like right off the bat is that Hector has much more ornate looking armor than Achilles. Achilles is a demigod, not quite of this world. Achilles is death personified, so he doesn't really have time for fancy or ornamented. Battlefields are extremely bloody and gory places, shockingly. I would not like to try and get the dirt out of all of those little decorations, I'm just saying. But that works, because it tells you about Hector, and it tells you that while he's noble and important, and frankly, the nicest character in the movie, he's not Achilles. He's not Achilles, and this is not going to go well for him. Good helmet, even if you do take it off, like solid breastplate, greaves, shield and spear, love a shield and spear, and some vambraces too, because why not? I'd wear it, Hector. I'd wear it. And now we come to Achilles. And Achilles, man. I mean, I really like that he's wearing a kind of Corinthian-ish helmet. That's a nice style. I'm very fond of it. I have one myself. I like that everything on his armor is kind of just less ornate than that of Hector, because he is a practical man. He is here to kill you and go home, and he doesn't care. He doesn't need to signal his allegiance because he doesn't have one. He doesn't have a cause. He's in it for the glory. This, though. I'm sorry, this is not a sufficiently thick line to express my distaste. This, though. What are we doing here? The leather. I am not here for the leather. I hate it. Why? Why would you do this? I mean, I know it's irrelevant because you're basically immortal, but I just realized I should have been using blue for all the really good things. I am bumping you down to pretty good on the strength of the leather alone, Achilles. And we don't even use that when they have that moment where Hector actually manages to scratch your armor. Now, if you like sword and sandal and a little bit of sorcery, then you will probably enjoy the next books on my list, which is actually a series. It's called The Chronicles of Hanuvar by Howard Andrew Jones. I just read Shadow of the Smoking Mountain, which is the third book in the series, and I think it's my favourite one so far, but I would advise that you start with Lord of a Shattered Land, which is the first book, which is also excellent. Classic sword and sandal with a hero that you like he seems like a decent guy. I like that. Next up, the Scouts outfits from Attack on Titan. I was told specifically seasons 1 to 3 with the leather jacket, and frankly, I love a leather jacket. Are they necessarily the most protective things in the world? No, but they look so cool. We've got full body coverage, we've got sensible boots, we have the leather jacket and the cloak. However, we also have all of this stuff. What's up with all of these straps? This was explained by the person who sent the request, because apparently these, metal things here allow them to fly in the air or something, and so you have to strap them onto the body. And I understand, I get it. Because of these things that you have to attach to make you fly, you're basically wearing the equivalent of full plate. You are gonna need someone to help you get in and out of it. There's gonna be a whole rigmarole. You're not gonna be able to go to the loo easily. But when you don't have those big metal things on, it just makes the outfit look so weird. It just makes it look so weird. You've got all of these little straps, and it looks like she can't keep her boots on without strapping them to her belt. I'm gonna give it a pretty good. I really like everything except for all of those straps, but I just look at those and I think to myself, maybe there are slightly too many. Slightly too many. And if you were a cosplayer, you definitely need some kind of Velcro quick release thing to get you out of that. Otherwise, going to the loo would be a nightmare. Hello, it is me, Editing Jill, and this video is sponsored by this book, Just Stab Me Now, which was written by me. It is based on a shorts video series I made about Caroline and her fantasy heroine Rosamund and their arguments about how they thought the story should go. We've now sold over 40,000 copies of this, and there is an audiobook coming. TBA, I'll let you know, but the ebook and paperback versions are available wherever books are sold. Next up is Baldur's Gate 3, and I found a trailer. This guy really said, I'm gonna go into battle riding a dragon while wearing one spolder and a vambrace on the opposite side. Sir, why? Why have you started with the shoulders when armoring yourself? I don't know, but it's really common in fiction. Just stab me now. Anyway, the other significant character focus here seems to be this lady. Did the Squiddy man take your helmet, ma'am? I don't know, that sucks, but you do still seem to have the rest of your armor. You've got your breastplate and your spolders. You've got rather too much going on at the shoulders, honestly. What, so many pieces. But overall, you do seem to have quite good coverage, so it's not that bad. Just a second. Look, it is one thing to kidnap people and to turn them into yerks with your gross little brainworms, Mr. Squiddy Man, but stealing their pants is just too far. Oh, no, I'm sorry, I've maligned Squiddy Man unfairly. He may be a kidnapper, but he's not an underwear-stealing pervert. They're all like that. Just stab me now. Half plate doesn't mean you only wear half your clothes, ma'am. You're still allowed trousers. And last but not least, many people asked for Chappell Roan at the VMAs. Who is Chappell Roan and what are the VMAs? She's a musician and it's a music thing as far as I can tell. Further than that, I neither know nor care, don't at me. So this is a theatre performance and so it makes sense that there's no headwear because you don't want to cover the moneymaker. I like the mail, I like that it covers basically her entire body, and so even though some of these are slightly weirdly shaped pieces or slightly too small, like the upper arms, it still looks good because you're still covering the entire body. However, I would not wear this. I would not wear this. Because I mean, you can tell that she's got the range of motion, but I think that might just be because it's made of pleather spray painted rather than actual metal. Because no. We're not doing that. What's with the underwear? That's not how we do that. And while I precisely understand how they folded that breastplate to get the sort of cone bra effect, I did that when I was making my Joan of Arc cosplay out of foam, but regardless of what you make it out of, you're supposed to like, not have the point? I mean, it's a style choice, but I'm not wild about it. I don't hate it as costume armor, it's good for theatrical purposes, but pretty good. I don't hate it, but I don't love it and I would not wear it. Good? Great. If you enjoyed this, I have an entire playlist of other armor reviews. I will put them on the side of the screen for you. And if you have suggestions for me, the more ridiculous the better, just leave them in the comments. And I will see you next time.